Hi, I'm Shelley from Polka Dot Creek. I own a yarn store in Airdrie, Alberta, Canada with a dye studio in the back. We sell all of our own yarn and some commercial brands and some cross-stitch stuff. I don't know if you can see in store as well. Today I wanted to show you some of the new things that we have coming out this week. We've been working hard on making these sets for you in time for Christmas, or that you can make them before Christmas, and I just wanted to show you a few tips and tricks on how to make them. So what it is some DK self-striping sets. You can use these for socks and make socks for yourself or hats or whatever you want. They are 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It is 100 gram skein, and usually as a sock set it comes with one 20 gram skein. But these sets are going to have two of these 20 gram skeins, so you can make something a little different. And I just wanted to show you some of our different colorways and what you can make, and some tips. So I have knit a stocking out of one of our sets. It's 100 gram skeins plus 2 minis. So you'll need a whole mini for this fold over scalloped hem cuff. It's really adorable. That's the edge. Give you a little close up there. And I pretty much knit the whole tube using the whole skein. There's the toe. I started toe up with a Turkish cast on and then just kept knitting. Now I just knit the whole tube because I wasn't sure how long it was going to be once I was done. And I'm going to do an afterthought heel. I'm going to place it right there. So I'm going to show you how I do that today and show you the colorways. So I left some yarn out. I only did, with our 100 gram skeins of yarn that are self-striping, you will get 16 repeats of the 4 stripes. Okay, you can count all the red stripes. I only went to 14 and I saved the last 2 repeats worth of yarn, so it's maybe about 20 grams or so, and I'm going to make pom-poms to decorate where I put my hanger there. So first I'm going to show you our colorways that we are going to carry for them. We all already have them pre-dyed. We have one round. If they sell really fast, we will put up another round for sale, but for now we're just going to do this one round because it is kind of close to Christmas. But we have 7 different colors so that each one in the family can have their own stocking. So first color is Snow Day. And it will also come with 2 minis. Now, they don't come like this. They come in the skeins of yarn. This is just our sample that we knit up. We have a Erlbacher Speedster sock knitting machine in the back, and we always like to knit up a sample so you can see what it looks like. So this one is Snow Day. This one is Frosty Forest. Polka Dotty Christmas. Of course, I had to have a pink one in there, right? I don't know if you can tell, but my walls are all pink in the whole place. This one is Elf. Nice traditional Christmas, very cute. This one is Country Christmas. This one is Vintage Christmas Card. And then this one is Sleigh Ride. And this is the one that I knit my stocking out of. They all come with different color minis that coordinate with their self-striping colorway. So depending on the colorway that you pick, you will get 2 minis to go with it, so you can knit this. So 1 mini does your toe and your heel. You don't have to do an afterthought heel. You can do a short row heel. I'll show you where I'm going to put it. So if you'd rather not do an afterthought heel, you could do that instead. And then 1 mini takes up this cuff. Now for the cuff, all you do is keep on knitting like you were your tube, and you're gonna knit rows 1 to 14, just knitting, 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 knitting. Row 15 is knit 2 together, yarn over, and then the next 14 rows, you're gonna knit 2. So that when you fold it over, your scalloped edge here will be down here. And so you'll take your last row that you knit, and you will look inside your tube, and you will pick up your first row of each stitch. You'll be able to see where you started the navy. So what I did was I picked up that first stitch of navy, put it on my left-hand needle, and then knit them 2 together, and went all the way around till I got done. And then I did a row of bind off stitches, just bind off like normal. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to make a hanger with an I-cord edge and just sew it back down. That'll be your little hanger, and it'll hang like that. So that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to go and show you how to do the afterthought heel when I change the camera around, but it's big, it's huge, it's adorable, and I love it. So I thought I would just share with you how I do it. I am writing up the pattern instructions that you will be able to get with your yarn, but I thought maybe a little bit of a video tutorial would help too, because sometimes it's hard to read the instructions and I have a hard time sometimes writing the instructions. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So I'll be back in a bit. I'll just change positions. Okay, so let's start at the toe where you begin. So we're going to do a Turkish cast on. If you open it up, you can kind of see it's a pretty seamless way to cast on. If you have a different way of casting on, you're more than welcome to use it. This is just kind of a recipe and a guide on how to do it and how I like to do it. So we're going to show, I will show you how to do a Turkish cast on. There are a few videos out in YouTube land that are really good. There's one by Jane Richmond, that's how I learned. And every time I go to start another toe-up sock, I sometimes have to refer back to that video because sometimes it's a little bit in between that I haven't practiced. And sometimes I like to do cuff down socks, so it's whatever you prefer. This one, we're gonna do toe up with a Turkish cast on. So my recipe for doing toe up socks is always this way. Now, if you watch one of my other videos, the very first one where I showed you how to make 2 pairs of socks out of 1 skein of yarn or 1 cranked skein of yarn, I kind of showed this little recipe that I do all the time. So I'll just show you again. So for the toe, we start with the Turkish cast on and we cast on 18 stitches. We are going to increase to 20 and increase every other row. So the first row we increase to 20, then we're going to knit around. Now when I say 20, I mean 20 on each needle. I do magic loop. I always do magic loop. It's my favorite. It's what I learned on, so it's how I do it. So when I say 20, it's 20 on each needle. So increase to 20, knit your next row. Next round after that, you increase to 22 on each needle. And then you knit all the stitches on each needle and keep going and keep going. Now my increase row is always like this. You take your first stitch, you knit that one. The next one, you knit front back, and then you're gonna knit all the way almost to the end of your needle into the last 2 stitches. That's supposed to be a 2. And then you're gonna knit front back and knit 1. Then you're gonna turn, do it on your other needle, so you do the whole round that way. So then you'll have an increase of 2 stitches on each needle. Okay, does that make sense? And then you just keep going in the same pattern until you get to 36, and then you knit 1 more round. So that's what I did with this navy toe. It's kind of a big toe, so if you're a sock knitter, you know how it's kind of what size toes are, but this one's like almost the size of my hand. It's pretty funny. But our DK yarn is so nice and it's soft and squishy and you can see the stitch definition really well, so I really love using it. It was really fun to knit with, so there you go. Okay, let me show you how to do the Turkish cast on. So you're going to take your yarn and your needles and you want to do a slip knot. Okay. Sorry if it's noisy and sorry if it's shadowy. We have really high ceilings in here and it's an open ceiling, so it's kind of shadowy all the time. So you're gonna put your slip stitch on your top needle and you're gonna hold your needles just like this. Okay? You're gonna take your yarn, maybe I should move it over here. Take your working yarn, not your tail. You kind of need to have a good grip on all of this. And we're going to cast on 18 stitches. So you go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay? You're going to pinch that. Hold that really tight. Sorry if we're off to the side a little bit here. You're going to flip it around. So now your top needle is your bottom needle now. Where that has your slip knot, that's the bottom needle. You're gonna pull that bottom needle out and you're gonna knit across all these stitches. Now you gotta be careful and you gotta hold on to it. And you're just gonna knit across, holding tight and don't let go. I'm an English style knitter, so this is how I do it. But you always gotta kind of hold it. Just this round. This is the trickiest round. And you might need a few tries at it. Sometimes it can pop on you. And you're going to knit all 18 of those stitches. Don't want to knit your slip knot though. Oh, that's on the other one. Okay, your slip knot's down here, so you won't have to. Count, make sure you got your 18. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Perfect. We're gonna flip it around again. So that slip knot is on the top. That's the one we don't wanna knit. But we wanna put our cord back in and our needle back in. And we're gonna pull out the bottom needle again. There's your slip knot. Don't knit your slip knot. We're gonna take that right off. Just let it fall for now. And you're gonna go in and you're gonna knit with your working yarn your 18 stitches again. Now you can pull your tail and that'll let go of your slip knot and it'll kind of tighten that up there. Knit your 18 stitches across. Okay, we knit all the way across. We're gonna flip it again and push our cord through. Okay, and we're gonna knit one more time. So this is our cast on row, right in the middle there. We got one row done, and now we're gonna do the other one. I'm using interchangeable needles, so I'm always having to tighten these up. One more time. Okay, so that is our Turkish cast on and setup. Okay, flip it over again and push your cord back through. Okay, now we are ready to start the toe. Now, how I always know what row I'm on is I, of course, use my list and I always have to mark it off because I'm usually watching Netflix or talking to somebody and I lose track quite easily. And that's also why I had a stitch marker on my toe here to know that that's the front of the sock. So, okay, so here we go. So our first row is the increase to 20 stitches. So we are going to do that. So your first stitch is a knit one. Your next one is knit front back. So you knit into the front of the needle, you swing back, go into the back of that stitch. Oh, I'll go get the phone. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I'm going to start that row over again for you so you can see it better. So row 1, increase to 20. So we're going to knit the first stitch, like it says, knit 1, with the working yarn, of course. Knit 1. Next stitch, we're going to knit front back. So you knit into it like normal, and then you're going to swing back and knit into it again, that same stitch behind the needle. And then just knit across. So you've increased by 1 stitch so far. Until you have 2 stitches left on your left needle. Okay, we have 2 stitches left. We're going to knit front back into that one. Knit, swing around, pick that one up there. Okay, so we just increased by another stitch and knit that one. So we should have 20 stitches from where we started. We had 18, so we increased 2 to 20. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. So we're going to do that to the next needle too. That's what we do with magic loop. If you do something to the first needle, you got to do it to the second needle. And push in that cord, bring your bottom needle out again. Okay. So do the same thing again, knit 1. The next one is knit front back. So you knit into the stitch like normal and swing back and knit into the same stitch behind the needle. Knit across. Okay, until 2 stitches left. We're going to knit front back again. And knit. So that we've increased to 20 on both needles. You can kind of see it starting to form, and it's going to fold like that. And that's the beginning of your toe. So you flip it around, push that needle back in. And the first couple stitches might be a little tight, so you gotta help it. Now, how I know that I've finished a round, in case you kind of lose track or the phone rings or somebody talks to you or something, is your working yarn. If your working yarn is on your right-hand side, you're starting a new row. If your working yarn is on this side, you've only done half of your round. So you've only worked across 1 needle, because then your working yarn is on this one. So you wanna make sure you work all the way around both needles. You do this needle, you do that needle, and your working yarn will be back here. Now you will lose track of that once your toe gets bigger, and it'll be kind of inside your toe and you won't be able to see it. But that's when I put my stitch marker on the front. I'll put it on right there like this guy. So if you look at our little pattern here, we did our Turkish cast on and we increased to 20 on both needles. Now we're going to knit across both needles. Then the next row, same thing, same thing, same thing, until you have 36 stitches on each needle. So that means you'll have 72 total. And you want to do your last round is just one whole round of knitting. And then we will do the color change. Now I'm not going to show you that because that's going to take a long time, but I just wanted to show you how to get started on the toe. And that's how I do my Turkish cast on. And yeah, there you go. If you have a different one, you go ahead and use it. Just make sure that you get to 36 stitches on each needle, or 72 in your round, before you start your main color, your self-striping, or if you just want to use any kind of yarn, start your new yarn after you're done your toe and you have 72 stitches. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you on this sample how to do our afterthought heel. Okay, see ya. Okay, now it's time for our heel. Now I'm going to put my heel after 5 repeats. You can use a short row heel and put it in whenever you like. I wasn't sure how long of a tube this was actually going to make since I hadn't made one before, and I really just wanted to use one of my DK sock sets. So now that I'm done knitting the whole tube, I'm going to put it right after 5 repeats. So if you count, each repeat of ours is 4 colors. So 1, that's full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have my little stitch marker right in the middle of my row, and I'm going to pick up the stitches and of the row below it and the row above it, and we're going to pop in an afterthought heel. Now, if you would like to knit a short row heel, a fish lips kiss heel, I love all those heels too, you can totally do that as you're knitting. So knit your 5 repeats, do your heel, and then continue on and knit up the top. But I'm going to show you how to do an afterthought heel. I get asked this question a lot. Now, I knit these with my socks all the time because I do crank my tubes a lot on my sock knitting machine, and then afterwards I will put in heels depending who the sock pair of socks is for. It's an easy way to quickly make up a gift. If you know their shoe size, you can quickly pop in a heel and be done. So this is what we're going to do. Now, my heel recipe is the exact same as my toe, just backwards. So we're gonna start with the 36 stitches and we're gonna go down to 18, and then we're gonna Kitchener it close. My decrease row is a knit 1, slip, slip, knit to the last 3, that's a 3 stitches, before the end, the last 3 on your needle, and then you're gonna knit 2 together and knit 1. Now this is for each needle because I'm doing magic loop again. So you want to do this on one needle and again on the second back needle. Okay. So how I pick up stitches. Now each stitch is a V. You want to pick up the right hand leg of each V. Like that. Okay, so let's get close here. Sorry, my neighbors next door in our building are getting delivery, so they're kind of loud. So we want to pick up the row below the one we picked and the row above. We're going to leave this row out. So we're going to go down to the end. Now I like to do it right at a color change, so then it's really easy to pick up the stitches and you know that you're going to stay on the row that you want to be on. So we're going to pick up the right hand leg of each one. Because that's how many we did. We have 72 stitch socks, so you want to do half, that's 36. Sorry about the beeping. Let's just move this out of the way for now. So if you pick at a color change, it's really easy to know what row and to stay on your row. I try to do that all the time. Plus I think it looks nice with the heel when it's all one color. I like to do a different color for my heels so I don't ruin the striping process. Okay, let's count here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 35. We need one more. 36. Okay, leave those on there. Grab your other needle. So we're going to skip the row above that and do a row above that because we're going to cut this row of yarn. So we need to pick up this row of stitches. Same again, the right leg of each stitch. Now, if I was knitting a pair of socks that are going to fit me or another person, after I pick up my stitches and cut out this first in between row, I like to knit 5 rows of just stockinette first. It gives you a little bit of extra room in your heel. If you have a little bit of a high instep, but you don't want to necessarily do a heel flap and gusset, or you're knitting it for somebody else, so you're just popping in a heel later. 5 rows of just straight knitting before you start your decreases will give you a little bit of room for your instep and your heel and just make it a little bit more comfortable. That's my little trick that I always do. I think it works pretty good for the most part. I also do that in socks that I think they might wear them a lot and they might put a hole in the heel. Then I can just go through and re-pick up the stitches on my heel and tear it out and redo a whole new heel if it wears out. So that's kind of a nice way to make your socks last longer. Okay, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 36. Okay, my lights went out because at the store we have them on a 15-minute timer. This happens at all our podcasts too, so the lighting actually might be better. I don't know. Okay, so you can see we have our row in between our 2 needles. That's the row we're going to cut. Now I like to go to about halfway mark, so count 18 because that's half of your 36. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 here. And we're going to pull up that in between row. We're going to pull up a stitch. We're going to cut it. Don't worry, it's okay. You have all your stitches picked up on your needle, so it's okay. And we're going to undo going one direction. Also, if I do these on a pair of socks that I'm going to wear, I undo all this row all the way except for the last 2 stitches. That will close up any holes or gaps that you sometimes get when you're doing heels. Even when you do normal short row heels, I think sometimes just the weight of the yarn on your needles when you're working back and forth just on the back of the sock to do your heel, I think it just stretches those stitches a bit and can create kind of a loose stitch or a bit of a hole. So I like to not go all the way. And then I can use these tails to kind of weave in and close up any hole or weird stitch there. So I think I'll do that here. I'm going to leave it. And still have these 2 stitches here. Okay. Flip it around. We're going to do it on this side too. Okay, so now we have our hole. We've cut our yarn. We have the toe down here. It's the back of the sock, so you're not seeing the stitch marker. All the way up to the cuff. Now, I'd like to also take a stitch marker. This also helps me stay on track when I'm watching Netflix, is our needles start here, or we're gonna start knitting on this side. So this will be our first and then second to complete our whole round, right? But to make sure that you know where you are, this is our first needle and where we start. So in case you have to put it down or the phone rings or a kid bothers you or something good happens in the movie, you know where you are. Plus, you can always write out your little thing like I always have to do too. Okay, so what we're gonna do is our first row, we're gonna pick up our 30 stitches. 36 stitches above and below the row with that the marker was on, we're good. And we're gonna knit that first row. Okay. We're gonna take our blue yarn again. Yes. And we're just gonna knit across our needles. So like I always do magic loops, so anything I write down, like my list there, I do it on one needle and then I do it on the other needle, and then that's considered one round. So I'll just do the first couple of rounds just to show you. I won't do the whole heel because that'll take a while. So even though we didn't unravel all the way to the end, we still have the stitches that were on the end. We didn't take any stitches off or anything. We just didn't make the hole as big as the hole. 36 stitches, I guess. We have a lot of choices of colors in our DK yarn. We have a lot of speckled sets, solid colors, and mini skeins. So if you're knitting this and your gauge is a little different than mine and you run out of yarn, we have all these colors usually available and in stock that you can pick from, whether you want a full skein or a mini skein. We usually have them all ready to go. Okay, we're getting weirder shadows as the afternoon goes on here, but we did our first round on our heel, just the knit a whole round, front needle and back needle. We're at the spot where our stitch marker is, we're on that end, and we are now going to keep just following along our pattern here. So we did the pick up of 36 stitches, we knit one row. Now we're gonna decrease to 34 stitches. That means 34 on each needle. So we're gonna knit one, slip, slip, knit to the last 3 stitches before the end on your needle, knit 2 together and knit 1. And then we're gonna do that on the back needle, okay? I'll just show you this first one. Okay, so we knit one, slip, slip, knit, and then we just knit all the way across our needle until 3 stitches are left. Okay, so we have 3 stitches left on our left needle. We're going to take those first 2, and we're going to knit those 2 together. And then we're going to knit 1. And we're going to do the same on the second needle. And that's how you do your decrease round. So you want to keep doing that. 32, then knit, then 33, all the way down till you have 18 stitches on both of your needles, and then you're going to Kitchener it closed. I'm not going to do that whole heel. It's going to take a little bit, and people are going to start coming into work and making noise in the store and stuff. So I know you could probably have either done Kitchener stitch to close a toe or something before, or you can refer back to my very first video. I might have showed it on there, or you can just look it up on YouTube. There's lots of great videos, better than mine with the weird shadows, but I just wanted to give you an idea on what to do. It might be easier sometimes if you're a visual learner to see a video on how to do it. But here are all our sets. I'll show you one more time. All our colorways. We have Polka Dotty Christmas, Frosty Forest, Snow Day, Sleigh Ride, Vintage Christmas Card, Country Christmas, and Elf. Now, throughout this Christmas season, they will be available on fingering and DK if you want to just knit socks, or these special stocking sets that we'll have up on our website in a day or two. So there you go. You might want to check by the time this video uploads and I splice all these together, it might already be available on our website, but you can always check my Instagram. I'm Polka Dot Creek, or on Facebook as Polka Dot Creek. My email is polkadotcreekyarn@gmail.com, or our website is polkadotcreekyarn.com. So if you have any questions or you need anything, just let me know. You can email, leave it down below, or check our website. These are going to be super cute, and we have enough colors for everyone in the family to have their own. Or if you want your family to have all the same color, just let us know. If we don't have enough in stock, and we can probably do a special order. Thanks. Have a good day. Happy knitting. Okay, so we have about 20-ish stitches on there. I'm going to cut my yarn, and I'm going to take a needle so just pull these through, pull like that. Okay, then I'm going to come back down to where I started, and I'm just going to sew this on. Go back and forth through a few stitches just to make it nice and secure. It's not anything you need to be too particular about, but I'm just going to pull up a few stitches. Just sew it down. So have a cute little hanger there to hang up your stocking. Make it as long as you like, short as you like, or leave it off if you like. Doesn't really matter. It's optional, but I'm going to put a few pom-poms here with my little pom-pom makers that I got on Amazon. I have a few different sizes here, and I'm going to play around with my leftover yarn that I saved. I think it would be cute pom-poms. They'll maybe be multicolored. We'll see. Or I have a little bit of yarn left over from my stash. I might make a few just to think it'd be cute hanging up, and yeah, just like that. I think this is a really pretty finished edge like that, and yeah, I think it's super sweet. So thanks for joining me. The pattern is available on Ravelry. My Ravelry name is Shelley Dupont Designs. We also are selling these kits at our website, polkadotcreekyarn.com. You can leave any questions or comments down below. If you have a different way that you'd like to do it, you go right ahead. I was just showing you how we're doing it and give you a little bit of guidance, how to get the most yarn out of your sock set, the most usage out of your sock set, and all the pretty colors that we have coming out. So thanks for joining me today, and yeah, have a good one. Happy knitting.